Hey guys, I created the Hunter, a movable puppet from the game Little Nightmares 2.
ClayClaim. Okay, my parents have these puppets, very old ones, over 100 years old, but they are scary. Now you get me. They are really scary, but still somehow interesting. They have a mechanic inside and they move like a human. They look quite vivid. And I thought, I want this too. So today we are creating the Hunter from Little Nightmares 2. And I wanted to have my own creepy puppet to play with. And these puppets somehow match perfectly with this game, which I am playing right now. I have not finished it. I'm in chapter 2 right now, but it's so scary. And whenever I find time to play, normally it's in the evening, and then it's also too scary for me. So yeah, we're focusing on this good guy, on the Hunter. And we will use the figurine in different segments. We start with his black boots, and it's very important to use this thin wire. I'll show you the technique on the very scary old puppets from time to time, that we can compare and see how I should proceed with this creation, because to be bloody honest, I have no idea how to create such a puppet, and I have no idea how to play and how to move such a puppet that it looks natural or good. But, well, let's worry about this later. We will focus on the clay part first. This is step 1 of today's creation. It is not only the boots, which we are making out of clay. We also have the head, and the hands, and the weapon, and his light. So, some equipment and very, very tiny details like the buttons on the clothing, and hands and feet, of course. This is how I created his gloves, leather gloves. And maybe we should bring in some more wrinkles, that it looks a little bit used. The overall character design is spooky, well, no question about this. But it's also very used and dirty. He has several damages on the clothing, and I wanted to bring this in also on the gloves. This is why I mixed 2 different kinds of colors together. I didn't mix it too strong, that it just looks very dirty and very used. And now we can stick in the wire and we can make his hat, his beautiful hat. He probably got this from his father when he was the hunter in the forest. And our hunter was just a little kid. I don't want to give this guy too much sympathy, because the gameplay, it was pure horror. I have not played a lot of horror games in my life. Have I ever played a horror game in my life? I skipped the Five Nights at Freddy's. Sorry about that. So I bring in a beautiful texture. I'm using this fabric, and look at the imprint on the hat. It looks so beautiful. This hat from the hunter, which he got from his father when he was small. And the hat itself, well, it's pretty easy. I just take a black chunk of clay, and we will wrap this into some fabric later after of hardening. But we need another piece of wire and stick it in. She is supposed to be beautiful, I guess, but she is so scary. These eyes, I mean. Now we take some silver clay to create the shotgun. Oh, well, it's a double-barreled rifle, typically used on hunts, I'd say, as a qualified vegetarian. And it's pretty easy to create. We just make these two worms out of the dark, dirty silver. We just mixed two tiny holes in the front, and then we have to take care of the handle itself. We have a metal part, we have a wooden piece attached to it, and after oven hardening we can glue this all together, and hopefully we'll get a beautiful, beautiful double-barreled rifle. Okay, this is the trigger. Also very important, because otherwise he would not be able to shoot on us. Oh, these poor kids. Please don't spoiler in the comments. I told you I'm in chapter 2 right now in school, and I just met my teacher. Yeah, we have the lamp the hunter is wearing. And I won't use this lamp I am creating right now. This is more like a dummy, because I want to bring in some electricity. After the Predator tutorial with the LED light inside attached, I'm somehow hooked to electrify all my creations from now on. So I asked Moritz again from here in the studio, and he built something for me, which I'll show you in a minute. Now let's place all these beautiful clay parts onto the plate. Be careful with all the details. Okay, and then we are ready to go to the oven. Okay, this is some pretty lightweight wood. It's called balsa wood. And we will use it to create the counterparts for legs and arms, and also the torso, to get a very lightweight figurine. It's very important to have the exact same measurements from the blueprint. Otherwise, the guy would just look ridiculous in the end. And the hunter is a lot, but not ridiculous. Pardon, my lady. This is the technique. We have this rounded edge on the torso piece, and it will enable us to have a very smooth movement for the legs. And then everything should be quite easy. Maybe we get it even a little bit more rounded. This is sandpaper. And with this type of wood, balsa wood, can somehow sculpt it quite easily. And now we have some freshly baked body pieces from the hunter. And I think this is going to be the most difficult part of today's creation, the technique which I am trying to copy from these old puppets. On the one side we have the rounded edge, the rounded corner on these pieces, and on the other side this slot for movement of the wire. Perfect. All we need now is to fix the wire inside, to stick it in, and to get an axis of rotation. I'm using these needles for this purpose. Just clipping away the extra part. Okay, movement is perfect, but well, the boots are moving a little bit too much. It's like as if the knee is broken. I fixed this by gluing this tiny piece of wood, and look at that. Perfect. Now this guy has some healthy knees. We repeat the same technique on the torso. This is the axis of rotation. By using a needle, stick it in. Perfect. As the legs are quite tight and very close attached to the body, to the torso part, you can't bend them over. They have a movement radius of 90 degrees, which should be quite natural.
Ouch.
I knew the hunter would hurt me. I hate these tiny injuries. Okay. Let's go on. We are focusing on the head, attaching the head. This guy is almost finished. Well, he's quite naked, but we will take care of this right now. We have some fabrics, some different colors. I take a very dark green slash, well, what is it? Maybe some parts of brown also included for the hunter's trousers. I won't do a lot of sewing in today's video. I'm better with gluing. But we need some certain stitches because they are part of the design, but we will get there. For now, I try to make the torso a little bit thinner. Be careful with the scalpel. I just saw 2 blood marks on the right side of the torso. I've noticed that before. Okay, again, gluing, no sewing. And we can now wrap around this beautiful fabric around the torso. Maybe we should make him even a little bit thicker by using this foam. I just glue some parts of the foam to each of both sides, and then we can do some shaping by using the scissors. Okay. Perfect. Well, he looks a little bit fat right now, which the hunter isn't. No, you're not fat. But when wrapping around the fabric, it will look perfect. Trust me. We have this wrinkle, this fold, right in the middle, and I wasn't really sure if we have 2 parts of clothing, like one trouser and one upper part, or is it just one part? I wasn't really sure, so I decided to go with this wrinkle, which you can also see on the blueprint. And we can now glue his clothing onto his body and make it tight. For his sleeves, we will do some stitching and sewing, because this is the part where the fabric should be still quite elastic and movable, and by gluing it would have gotten too stiff. The final result should be like tubes made out of fabric. And we can now remove the needles, because the stitches will hold this fabric in position. Okay, this hand is a little bit bigger than the other one. And some more sewing before we create his mask, his hoodie, his whatever this is, and whatever there may be underneath. There is a hole. At first I thought this could be an eye. I am using some super glue to get the edges quite stiff. But then I remembered the scene in the game when you are hiding in the swamp and he is breathing. The hunter is breathing and you see some steam coming out of this hole. So it's probably like a mouth, a gigantic mouth, and not an eye. Now, as we glued the head onto his head, we can take this rope around his neck and make it tight. And as we are finished with the fabric, we can now take all his equipment and also these tiny buttons and decorate this guy a little bit more. Let's damage his clothing a little bit more. We have 2 pockets on each side, which we will also glue. Okay. And now, let's take these pieces of the rifle, assemble this with the trigger and the double-barreled. And then we have this connection part for another rope, which we will attach in a minute. Let's focus on his lamp. This is what the part looks like Moritz gave me, and I wanted to include this into some clay to hide the electric part, that it looks quite beautiful. And as you can see, I am using the handle from the old lamp and using some new clay parts, and after oven hardening it looks like this. And it's still working. I am taking a silver pen to make the inside part a little bit more reflecting. And this damaged piece of acrylic glass, acrylic paper, will give a beautiful glow to the lamp. Now all the parts are ready to being assembled and attached to the hunter. Some volunteers. I am using the hot glue gun, our hot glue gun, to put the pieces into his hands. And with the 2 fingers, the lamp should still be movable. And this is the rope attached to the rifle. And as the hunter still looks a little bit too shiny, too clean, we will bring in some more dirt. He has this circle around the hole, and the wrinkles are emphasized a little bit more by dirt. Also the rope, the holes, and the rifle. And to make the puppet movable in the end, we need these eyelets, these tiny hooks.
I hope you enjoyed today's video with the Hunter from Little Nightmares 2. I love the game, I love the atmosphere, and I would love to create more characters from this game. Which one? Let me know. Write it down in the comments. See you on Friday with the new Fortnite Season 6. Whatever this will be. Take good care and see you on Friday. Bye!